It's Pete from Cheap Homesteading, and I'm in the garage tonight, and I'm working on my Massey 231. When I started to put the engine together, I noticed there was cracks in the cylinders. So tonight we're going to change the cylinder lining. First thing I'm going to do is set it on its side a bit more, not fully, but a little bit. You want to have a good view of the cylinder lining and the adapter plate when you pull it out. Because if that gets a little crooked and you are pumping and pumping on the porta power, it is going to jam and it's going to destroy your block. So we don't want that. So you got to make sure that it starts going into the bore nicely, and then we can flip it down and just jack it the rest of the way. So you got your adapter plate. You are going to fit it up in the bottom of the cylinder here. And then you're going to put the rod up through it. I actually have to set it down more flat. Okay, so we're going to slide that through. Then I am going to tip the block back again. Okay, so we're going to have to remove the studs. And keep in mind, I don't have a stud remover at home. I should have brought one. I didn't even think. But we're going to use the 2-nut method. If you put both wrenches on and shove at the same time at the very beginning, there's a better chance of it turning. There we go. Okay, so it's coming. Okay, one out. One more to go. The big fancy tool that slides over. Make sure that it's not sitting over the edge of the cylinder lining at all. Special tool number 2, big old chunk of steel with a hole in it. Slides over here. And then you put the porta power cylinder on top of it. I'm going to give it a bit of a snug. Okay, so now we're just going to start pumping just a little bit of pressure and make sure that it's starting to seat properly. We'll tip it over, take a good look, see that it's seemingly going up into the block really nicely. Okay, so we have a porta power, and it's just a big pump that creates hydraulic pressure. So I'm just going to pump it up, and if everything goes good, we'll have the cylinder out. Okay, so I just got a little bit of tension on the liner. Okay, you don't want, there. So did you hear that? It just popped up into place. The cylinder liner moved, so we're going to jack it up the rest of the way. We've come to the end of its stroke, so we're going to let off the porta power. and tighten down the nut and get a new bite at it. Okay, so now we're going to pump it up again, and this should be the last one. My gracious, how much more? Okay. I think she's out. Okay, so that's what the cylinder looks like. And if you look right in there, this is right where it cracks, right where the edge is to the cylinder lining. I've talked to a guy that used to work on these when they were pretty new, and he says that just over time, that's where they break. Now we'll take the other two out and we'll start reassembly. Okay, we're going to clean the cylinder bore down a bit. Check for any damage. And clean the recess where the cylinders go into. You want to clean the top of where the cylinder goes. You want to get rid of all the carbon. Because when you go to put the other cylinder in, you want it to drop right in. And wipe it down, and we'll take a good look at the block. See that everything is good, and we'll install the cylinders. We're going to use fine grit sandpaper. Give the cylinder bore just a slight, light rub, and to clean it up. You don't want to do too much, but you want to make sure that there's no rough spots that would stop the cylinder liner from going in nice and easy. Every little bit of roughness makes it harder for that cylinder liner to go in. And it's tight enough as it is. So now the cylinder bores have all been cleaned out. You take a good look and look for any damage that would indicate that the block is bad or anything like that. Okay, so now you look for cracks at the bottom of the cylinder and it looks all good. So we're ready to install the new cylinders. I have the threaded rod, the bar across the bottom of the block. So now we have the cylinder, the pressing plate, and the hydraulic cylinder. We're going to coat the outside of the cylinder with ATF, and we're going to push it in. We're just going to put a light coat. We're not going to go crazy with it. We've already done the inside of the cylinder bore. This is just to make sure that it's slippery. Okay. You want to make sure it's seated, but you don't want to break the block. So you just go, you watch it, it stops, give it a little bit more, and there you go, you're done. So there you go, a nice new cylinder. It's just like magic. I only got 2 more to go. Okay, so now it bottoms out. Give it one little extra and let it off. I want to make sure that I oil the cylinders so they don't rust. The cylinder liners look awesome. They already have the crosshatch in it, so you don't even have to hone them. That's a bonus. So there you go. I have a Perkins with 3 new cylinder linings. So tonight, hopefully I can start putting the crank in it. So you guys have a good one.